It's been so much going on with this election and the coronavirus pandemic that so many of us have lost state of who we are. And we just have to make sure that we find this ground of stability, find this common ground. Joining me today is Dr. Alphonso Nathan as we discuss black health and mental health matters. More importantly than anything, staying grounded in this election climate that we're in. So joining me is Dr. Alphonso Nathan, and I'm going to add him in, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get this show started.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, doctor. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to Style by Stevie.
It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
You're so welcome because I know you said half an hour. I'm just going to get right into it. In this climate that we're in right now, there's going to be a lot of what's called political anxiety. What can you tell people on trying to remain grounded in these times? Because they're so unsure of what's going on. And it's just like people have lost hope and given up. And we've seen so many people want to commit suicide and so many different things. What
Yeah.
advice could you give to people?
Well, first thing to know is anxiety is what we call the fear of the unknown. So feelings of impending dooms, constant worry, and worry a lot about the future. And there's a lot to worry about in this future. What I usually tell individuals is we have to put power to what you can control. A lot of times we put a lot of power to things we have no control over, and that's when we feel powerless. So like if it's raining outside and you go outside, you put your fist in the air, and you tell yourself to stop raining. You tell it to stop raining, it's gonna continue raining. All you're gonna do is feel wet and powerless. So in times of just chaotic situations, you have to really ground yourself and try to figure out seeing what you can do just right in this moment, and you build yourself up from there, man. Because when too much chaotic situations are around you, it can really mess with you mentally. So I say just you have to focus on what you can control.
I agree 100%. And not only that, but for me as a black woman and other black women, we see with so many things that are going on with the Breonna Taylor, black women are at the most who have the most with mental health problems. So what advice could you give to black women? Because not only that, but they have birth issues as well too, giving birth to children. But
Mhm.
mental health is a more important thing. And we've seen what happened with so many black women like Tamar Braxton, just to name a few.
Yeah. I mean, black women are obviously, I'm a big advocate for black women. My wife is a black woman, and my daughter, she's a black girl, gonna grow up to be a black woman. So we teach strength for our women, but we also continue to teach compassion for those around us. And I think that for black women, it's about knowing that we have to have camaraderie, and just knowing that you're not alone, in these type of situations. And I would say, not only to the black woman, I would say to the black men, in general, to make sure that we do anything and everything we can to advocate for our women. And I think it's an important thing. Again, it's about just knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that you don't have to fight this battle by yourself. A lot of times, black women and just black people, try to suffer in silence because we're always conditioned to feel that we have to deal with this by ourselves, and you can't deal with a lot of these situations by yourself because everything's an energy. Anger is an energy, anxiety is an energy, and energy doesn't die; it just transfers.
Yes.
So if you hold it in, it's like, okay, if you say not to be upset, it's okay, but what do I do with all this? And it comes out in different ways. And as we're seeing with these unrests, it's just from things being held in and just getting tired of it. So just know that you aren't alone, and I would say self-care is the most important thing. So you can't pour from the empty cup. So you have to make sure that you're doing the best you can to continue to push for that self-care. So that's some couple of things I would say for our beautiful black queens.
And not only that, but the holidays are slowly approaching. Like November will be here, and Thanksgiving. I know we can't really do a whole lot in the middle of this pandemic, like large family gatherings. But the subject of politics will probably come up at the table, and there might be that one family member that might be leaning towards a particular certain president who shall remain unnameless.
Yep, yep,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what would you say to people who, it stresses people out? It really
yeah.
does.
Well, I'm a big believer of. There's this book I read back in the day. It's called "The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People," right? And one of the quotes that was in the book that always stuck to me. It said, "Seek first to understand, then to be understood." So seek first to understand, then to be understood. It means that we have to make sure that there are going to be people that's going to have different perspectives, different mindsets that we do have. We just have to try to do what we call empathic listening. So you can listen. You don't have to agree. You can just listen and agree to disagree. So because yeah, we're not nobody's gonna ever we're never gonna have always one type of perspective. So I would go into those dinners. I would go into those holidays just knowing that it's okay to have different perspectives, and unless somebody wants to get their perspective changed, you don't have to force it on it, because at the end of the day you have to protect your energy. That's another thing
Yes.
I would recommend to just our black people and our black women. Protect your energy. We all have a certain amount of energy in our bodies, some more than others, but that's our job to delegate that energy to things that are good investments and not put energy to things that are bad investments. You know what I mean? So a lot of times we put in investment, put our energy in things that's just not good for us. A good investment, like you put your energy in, like your craft. You know what I mean? And you get a good return by sharpening your craft and getting a bigger platform, getting better at it. Right? You don't put your energy in things that are bad investments, like circular conversation or arguments and emotional vampires. Those are people who've been like negative for so long, they just suck the energy from you to fuel themselves. And there's a lot of emotional vampires that will be around. So you know what I mean. You've got to know who and what is worth your energy. So if that family member is worth your energy to be able to have that debate with, then go ahead. If it's not worth that energy, then you protect your peace.
And it is definitely draining and exhausting to have to go back and forth and debate with this particular or one particular family member who has that different political view or mindset. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's emotionally draining to you. And in this
Mhm.
climate that we're in, a lot of people are what's having what's called political anxiety
Yeah.
because the election is slowly approaching and people are so unsure in these times. Like they're
Mhm.
glued to the news 24/7 because they're not sure what's going to happen and they're
Yeah.
just fearing for what's going to happen in the world.
So what I would say with that, I would say sometimes you gotta detox yourself from the negativity. I always have people, I do it myself. I detox myself from social media. I detox myself from just the news from time to time, because after a while you know what's gonna be on it. So if you can't handle it right now, then you can take a break from it. Gluing yourself from it 24/7, it's only gonna just be more negativity right now. So take a break from it, and just kind of gather yourself, and that's what I usually recommend to people, especially right now. It's a lot. I know there was just a tragic shooting, and by one of my black brothers, Walter Wallace, in Philly, right where I'm at, and it was an uprise. Not people say riots, but I say people are fed up, and the hard part is people have to understand, riots is the language of the unheard. If you're not feeling heard, if you're not feeling like things are
Right.
are being are being changed, then that's what happens. So it's unfortunate. I don't know the answer to a lot, to that, but I just my prayers out for anybody that is suffering just anything in this world. So
Yes, because we're in very trying times right now, and
Yeah,
where this country is going to go, it can either make or break this country. And I know for me, for sure, I get scared, and I'm pretty sure people have fear, and they're just, I'm terrified of the cops. I watched that man get killed in Philly. So, see, this is what's going on, Doctor, is
yeah,
that we have people that are terrified of where this country is going to go, especially for us as people of color, black and brown people, people of color. We're
yeah.
just, you know, unsure. We've seen so much injustice from Breonna Taylor to George Floyd, so we've just lost faith in the system and everything. And another thing, oppression also is a contributing factor to depression because it's been 500 years, and to see it still go on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's such it's such a shame that that oppression is a continued thing. So that's why I go back to what I was saying. There's some things you have full power on, some things you don't. You know what I mean? So what you do, you have to see, okay, what can I do in this situation, this climate, to either better my situation, to help at least change the narrative, at least change the the dial, to some sort, to help change better society. Like, what I've been doing, over these past year and a half, 2 years, is I really changed my focus on the individual that I see. Because I'm in private practice, and a lot of my clientele prior was just individuals that have high affluent white individuals. That was my clientele because they paid me the most, and I realized I was not getting the satisfaction from I'm do very well for myself, and the money was not satisfying me. So I saw this meme online, and it said, black people go to jail, white people go to therapy. And that really hit me hard. And since then, I made sure I started introducing myself to more organizations, and really making myself available for my black and brown people. So I'm part of a couple of organizations. One is Black Men Heal, provides it's a nonprofit organization. It was featured on the Breakfast Club, and it serves free therapy for Black men, in the tri-state area, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the whole tri-state area. It provides free therapy, 8 sessions, and also we do group sessions every Sunday called King's Corner, to be able to help our kings be able to express themselves and have an outlet. So I do that, and also I'm part of the Boris Henson Foundation that was founded by Taraji P. Henson, and it provides free therapy for people in the Black and Brown communities. Also working on doing group therapy for kids and adolescents. So I'm working with that, and I'm just accepting a lot more. Because of COVID, I do telehealth, so I'm able to be seen throughout the state of Pennsylvania. So my caseload is a lot more diverse than it was initially. Still making great money, but I feel much. I feel like I'm giving back a lot more, and it's much more satisfying. So
And
I forgot what the
we need
question
it the
was. I just went on
most.
a tangent. So
No, you're good. I asked you about that, about the oppression. And
yeah,
the thing is, people of color, us, we've been told for so long, just pray about it. Just talk to God. I said this in one of my recent interviews I did with actor Eamon Joseph. And
hmm
he was saying, yes, put God first, talk to God about it. But you have to be willing to do the work.
yeah,
And I said something controversial. I said, you'll become somebody like a Kanye West, or somebody who spiraled so deep, you can't reach them. You can't reach them.
yeah. Well, what I say about that? Because I'm very religious. I'm Pentecostal. So tongue talking Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
But I when people say pray about it, I always let people know that answers to the prayers can be, individuals like myself, can be, Western medicine. So, yeah, God does answer prayers through people. So yes, you can pray about it, and then open, and not just wait. Go seek out the help, because what it does, it will let you to be able to guide yourself, so you can be able to get that help. 'Cause a lot of times people do suffer in silence. You know what I'm saying? Because they want that help, but it's hard to reach out for that one. So that's why,
Talk about it.
yeah, and then they feel like there's nobody that can be able to help them out. So that's why I try to do a lot of situations like this, just to show face that there are, we're very few, but there are Black male therapists out there to help out as many people as possible. I'm encouraging a lot of the young people to get into this field because it's a much needed field. And I think it's important, especially I think there's definitely a change in awareness right now for mental health. A couple years ago it wasn't this big of a push, but now there's a big push for mental health. I think it's really important, you know.
And now this is serious because a lot of us as people of color, as African Americans, with politics and everything coming into the play, like the holidays is around the corner, all of us are starting to experience all of these things, all of these feelings, all of these emotions. And 2020 for us, just this year in general, has been an emotional roller coaster ride from so many deaths to so many things to civil unrest. All of these things are just hitting us all at once. And it's just like, how much can a person take in? Like a sponge can only absorb so much water. We can only take in so much of this bad news each and every day. And it's just like, okay, you lose hope. Like, oh wait, someone's got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read it? It says, I'm looking for a Black therapist. Is the aware for resources? What is the aware for resources for finding a Black therapist?
So that's a great question. It's for Black male therapists. You can look on Black Men Heal and also the Boris Henson Foundation. The Boris Henson Foundation has a directory of just practitioners that are people of color, and you can be able to contact individuals that way. Also, Psychology Today. You can go on Psychology Today, and you can just filter out your search for Black therapists. And we're here. We're few, but we're here.
Oh, you got another question, doctor. Can someone with Mnuchin syndrome be
Munchkin,
helped?
yeah. Munchkin syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. I think nothing's impossible, just not figured out yet. So it's just about, that's trauma, and trauma is, it takes time, but trauma is can be worked on, and what it is, you know, traumatic situations, are just events that are just ingrained in our head, and you get flashbacks. You get um, like responses from certain things that trigger you. The best type of therapy for any type of trauma is called dialectical behavior therapy, also known as DBT therapy. So, you go through that, and you do what's called systematic desensitization. So little by little, that those feelings, those thoughts, you tend to get desensitized from it, and it takes less of your power. But it takes a lot of time in therapy, but it is possible, more than possible to be helped with that.
Any more questions before we wrap up with Dr. Nathan? Because we can't keep him. We only got a half an hour left. This is very important information that people need to know. African Americans need to know because our health is at stake. We are the ones that have the most mental health issues, like
Yeah.
any other race out here. We're the ones that have the most mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we've been taught to pray about it. It's the slave mentality that Eamon Joseph was talking about when I did my interview with him. That Black people have been taught for the longest. Just talk to God, just pray about it. It's gonna be okay. But you have to be willing to do the work, get
Yeah,
help,
I
and
agree.
you have to want the help for yourself more than anything.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And the thing is, like I said, it's about the resources. A lot of times what happens is we start to have what we call learned helplessness. And learned helplessness is pretty much, when, you feel like your situation cannot change. You feel that, you're too far gone, and there's no hope, and you want to reach out for help, but you feel like there's no help. And I think people need to know that, again, nothing's impossible, just not figured out yet. So So you just have to continue figuring it out. And you know, individuals again, individuals like myself, you know, we are out here to help out as many people as possible. And I think it's going to be more and more as time goes on. And just know that, you know, your situation, you don't have to be stuck in your situation. And that's not the case, you know. And you can, you know, even as time goes on, it may take some time, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be over, you know.
Okay, we got another question, Doctor. There you go.
Mhm. How can a family member help someone with mental illness virtually? I think that's a great question, and I think what happens, you know, a lot of times, you know, we as family members, we see the issues more than the member,
Yes.
and what happens is, you know, it's sometimes it just takes it takes time, it takes a process, you know what I mean? So I would say, you know, you can reach out to a mental health provider and you can make a plan on how you can just introduce that person to a therapist. Because a lot of times when I tell parents or family members, I'm like, listen, all I need is like 10 minutes, a 10-minute bio. You know, if you give me 10 minutes, I can be able to build rapport. Rapport, like that relationship is very important for that therapeutic process. So if you're building that rapport with this with the client, they'll be able to be roped in, and you can be able to get that help. You can be able to get that help. You know, sometimes it takes some trial and error because not every therapist is such good fit for everybody. But for the family members, it's about reaching out to the therapist first and let them know what's going on, and you can kind of go from there. My boy Reeking Bull, what's going on? Um, but yeah, so yeah, so no, that's how I feel. You know, like I said, you can just if you're trying to reach out, like as a family member, you can be able to just seek a therapist, and then you can have a plan to be able to just to get them. Again, now it's a lot easier now, just with even telehealth now. It's a lot easier. So you can be
Yes.
able to just, you know, through a phone right now. I see people throughout Pennsylvania. I see people in California. I see people in Atlanta, like all over. So the reach is a lot better now since telehealth and COVID. Mhm.
Okay, there's another question. Hey, sis, it's a real process. True, every Thursday. Like, right.
Mhm. How do you know when you found the right therapist? What should people look for in a therapist? So I would say I think people know when you found the right one. It's like when you feel like comfortable being able to talk with that person. They feel relatable. You don't feel like, you know, it's just like when you're talking to them, they're judging you. You know what I'm saying? So what you look for somebody that can that understands why you came to that person, has the expertise,
Yes.
and you can be able to talk with them. You know what I mean? Because again, not every therapist is for everybody. I'm not the right fit for everybody, but I'm right fit for a lot of people, but not for everybody. You know what I mean? So just through the conversation, that tell you all you need is about 15, 20 minutes to know if that person's the right fit for you. You know, and after that, you know, it goes from there. You know.
And another part, because I'm not going to keep you long, Doctor. I know you said half an hour. I'm just going to.
Yeah,
Do we
I can
have
give
any
you
more
like 10. I got
questions?
10 more minutes. I got 10 more minutes. I
Oh,
can do
okay, yeah. Because I didn't want to, I didn't want to hold you. One thing about me is I don't go over. I'm not Barbara Walters.
Oh, no, that's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
It's okay.
Another thing is this: people have to be willing to open up and find out what is going on the inside of them. Why is there so much,
Mhm.
repressed tension? Because another thing we notice when politics comes into play, people kind of tense up. You notice the body language is off, and
Mhm.
it's just something is just off, their energy, their vibes. And I'm the type of person, I like to try to determine a person's energy when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go there in this conversation. I've seen what happened. It can go way left, or it can go, we can be able to have a good dialogue like we're doing right now, but I've
Yeah.
seen people talk politics and it just go way left.
Yeah. 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 it goes with the energy. You know what I mean? You gotta see where that energy is going, like, and you gotta see if it's worth it, if it's worth, because again, not everybody you should have that conversation with, because there's some people that are just really avid in one side, and it's more of a they don't really want to have that back and forth. They just want to wait for you
Right.
to give their autobiography. You know what I mean? So you gotta understand that not everybody deserves that time to talk politics. You know what I mean? I talk politics with some people. I don't talk politics with others. I just know
Right.
it's not worth my time and energy. So you always got to be cognizant of your of what you want to put out in that situation.
So, do we have any more questions for Dr. Nathan? Because this is a conversation that is very imperative. And again, like I said in the beginning of this interview, us as African Americans, we have to talk about it because our mental health is at stake. These next few couple of days, this winding down to this election, is going to be a lot of stress on a lot of people. And then, not to top it off, you're going to have family members. Like I just recently had a girlfriend, and one of her family members is a Trump supporter, and she came and she talked to me, and I didn't really know how to handle the situation, but I advised her as best as I could to my ability. And I told her, this is what's going to happen. You have to be willing to handle this, because one thing we know for sure is that they do not like the facts, they do not like the truth. There's a question for you, doctor. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Um, it says, "What am I located? That the one? Am I located in Philly?"
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Hmm.
I'm located outside of Philly. I'm located in Montgomery County, so it's in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So but I do telehealth, so I talk with people. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania, but I also do life coaching situations outside of the state.
Okay.
So I'm available.
All right, any more questions? A few more minutes, because I can't keep Dr. Nathan anymore. I can't. This
Yes,
is a great conversation.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, send me your information. I think it's Sunshine 315.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have, just look on my information. Send me a message, and I'll take care of that. Okay. All right.
Okay, there's a question for you too, doctor.
So area therapy. So I do everything. I do anxiety, depression, ADHD, ODD, spectrum-based disorders. So that's kids on the autism spectrum, marriage and family. I do what else I do? Anything in the mental health field. I do motivational speaking, sports psychology. I'm real big with sports psychology because I used to play football in college, and a lot of our athletes, they don't, they get overlooked for mental health situations,
Yes.
especially after sports. So I'm real big with sports psychology. So pretty much anything in the mental health field I've dabbled in. The main thing, I don't really do addictions too much unless it's just like weed or anything like that. Yeah, but last night was for addiction. So
All right. Thank you, Prosper Austin. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Because you mentioned sports, and I was about to bring up Lamar Odom. We've seen what happened with him, and he
yeah,
spoke up about depression and so many other things.
yeah,
And people don't believe that mental health is
yeah.
important in sports, but yes,
Oh,
it
it's
is.
it's it's exceptional. It's really important just because a lot of times because you see your athletes, they're big and strong. You think that like nothing can really bother them, and
Exactly.
a lot of
Yes.
times they get overlooked, and especially like professional athletes. Every time they pick up the phone, somebody wants something. So there's so much pressure on that, and the thing is, it's like after sports. Once they're done playing, all that fame, all that recognition it's done and it's forgotten. So especially for football players, because once you stop playing football, you can't do a pickup game or tackle football and the caliber that you play. So people have been playing football maybe from pee wee, like kindergarten, all the way up to like the pros, and then that's what they identify in. And then they stop playing. Now they have to find a new identity, and they get a lot of people get lost. So there's a big mental health portion, especially for our football players, but every athlete. So I'm a big advocate for that, to make sure that our athletes are getting that good mental health treatment.
And to add on to what Dr. Nathan just said, mental health does not discriminate against sex or age in the black community. So you got to be open and willing to talk to people about it. Get help soon, because we've seen what happened with so many of our brothers and sisters out here. And I can go through a list of entertainers who've struggled with mental health disorder, from Phyllis Hyman to Kanye West to Jimi Hendrix. Like, the list goes on and on. So you have to talk to people. And that's what therapists are here for, to save your life. Talk to people about it.
I agree. All right.
So do we have any more questions before we wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen? Let it out. Please get help. Yes, get help. And it's up to people to want to get. One more question. I'm going to ask this, doctor. How do you feel about interventions? Because I've seen people, say, oh, well, I'm giving an intervention. Michael Jackson's family, and then Tamar Braxton. Like, we've seen people that are famous give their family members interventions, and they just go way left.
So I've done interventions. I've done amount of interventions before, and what I always tell the family members is that intervention is not like in the show that it's just like one time you go there and they want to get help. It's a plan. You plan on who's going to be there, who's going to be who shouldn't be there, and then you do different sessions with the interventions. You do sessions with the family around it. Prior to introducing the person to it, and then you also let the individual know as well that this is what we're going to be doing, and then you provide the intervention. You do steps after. Like, it's a whole process. So it can work if it's the right person that's doing it, and also the person's ready. There's some interventions that the person's just not ready to go there, but you can't become unaware of something. So if they see the right amount of people in the room, something's going to change. So it's not going to, they may not go to the rehab or the mental health facility, but they may also try to change their mindsets or change their behaviors just because of that intervention. So yeah, it can go left, but that only goes left if it's only a one type of session. It has to be like a professional interventionist or a family therapist that can be able to help with that. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude it here. I'm sorry if you didn't get to your question, but we can't keep Dr. Nathan any longer. I'm glad the African American community is finally normalizing therapy instead of just praying and praying. Yes, I just said that. Not too long ago. I said that the black community, we have to get out of this slave mentality, and that's what Amen Joseph, that I just recently did an interview with. You guys can go back and check that out. This interview also will be saved right here on IGTV, so that people can go back and take these tools that Dr. Nathan has given to you guys to help you, because the holidays are coming. And like I just recently mentioned, one of my girlfriends, her sister is now a Trump supporter. So she messaged me yesterday about it, and she was like, girl, what do I do about it? What direction do I go in? So this interview can help you. This can help you. You have to be willing to get the help. So I'm going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen, and you catch this interview. And thank you so much, Dr. Nathan, for this incredible
Thank you so much.
interview. You are so welcome.
You guys, if any other questions, you can follow me at Fonz the Therapist on Instagram, and then I can help out. Okay? You guys have a good one, all right?
You too, and be safe, and everyone make sure you guys protect your energy. Please stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.